Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're going to take you around the industry and back in about an hour's time. I'm sitting here with some awesome co-hosts, Hudah, Gifdead. We do have Biggie Poppins, just you wait. He was having some connection issues earlier. We're going to try to get him back here in just a moment. A lot to talk about in the NFT market, man. You guys saw the pumps. You guys saw the pudgies. You saw all of this. So we're going to break that down here today. Excited to be sitting here again with these two individuals, as well as you at home. Thanks for tuning in. OVOT. Hudah, nice to see you, bro. How was your weekend? Give us the updates. What's going on?
Yeah, likewise, sir. Good to see you both. Good to see you guys all out there too. Weekend was awesome, man. I got a sick house. I know everybody's sick. I know GIF is sick right now. Everybody's hurting. But that meant it was kind of a chill weekend. I got to sit at my computer and kind of degen a bit, man, which was nice. Yeah, the market's looking pretty wild. Can I show some market stuff?
Hell yeah. Share
it on here.
Show me the market.
I mean, we got to look at this. This stuff's wild.
This is the show for that kind of content, sir.
Oh, good. Well, I was hoping to hear that. Yeah, I like to start with the index. This is the Forecast 500 NFT index, which this is showing the value of the NFT market, which we've been seeing a lot of green lately, which I know everybody loves to see. Past 24 hours, up just over 2%. What I'm really enjoying right now is that I can zoom out and zoom out and zoom out, and we're up even bigger the further back you look. So almost 10% in the past week, but a whopping like 30% just about in the past 30 days. That is something, like I've said this before, it's just like an unheard of thing, something we don't see often. We only see an increase like this in January, like that typical January pump we've had the past couple of years. We see something like this. We've never seen it this late in the year. It's what has me really convinced at this point that this turnaround, it's not this short-term temporary, liquidity in the market kind of thing. This is very real, and this is people collecting NFTs. So I'm pretty excited to see it. I know everybody out there is too.
Hudah, we're going to talk about this in just a moment, and we're going to take a deep dive a little bit into the Solana ecosystem. But I do want to get your thought process here. Very short one-liner before we jump into that stuff later. Can Solana really overtake Ethereum in this next run? Like, you'll just see it have more success from a collection standpoint or volume or whatever metric you're using.
The short answer, yeah, it's a yes, it can. I don't know if that's a permanent thing or a very short-term thing, but yes, I do expect to see Solana flip Ethereum, at least for a period of time.
Wow. All right, we got Biggie Poppins back here. How was your weekend out there? I'm sure it was great. I was trying not to dox you there real quick.
There was not a lot of out queue. I wanted out. I wanted to go out and touch grass and see the sun and do stuff like that. But man, some of those moments, sometimes, like the market and the Twitter sphere just grabs a hold of you. It's like, no, you're staying. And that's kind of been my weekend. Everything from hits, misses, and possible degen plays. It's insane. It's like all of a sudden, like Hudah was saying, everything just perked up, and I don't know. It was a heck of a weekend, but yeah, man, happy to be here with you all.
Yeah, a lot of connection's perfect. A lot of degen plays that we were discussing in our group chat there this weekend. So we'll be talking about those in just a moment. Gifdead, fresh off the GM Web3 Morning Show episode 306.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of myself
here. Well, NFT Live is, dude, we got to figure out what to do for episode 400 here, bro. I don't know how much thought and effort you've been putting into that yet, but we should do something special.
All the thought
for that. All the thought and effort. Yeah, I am still definitely battling a cold. That's why I sound like this. So thanks for bearing with me. Hopefully another day or two of rest and I'll be 100%. I was sick most of the weekend, which also did allow me, even though it was awful, it did allow me to degen a little bit more. And I'll throw this one out there real quick. I've been swinging around in some Solana shit coins. And now I got, you see an OK Bears and a Bodagos over here in my collection. So I picked up this guy.
Wow.
There's my OK Bear. And then I'll show you my Bodago real quick. Here we go. There you go. I'm in. And the four collections in Solana that I'm really interested in are the ones that we've kind of been watching and talking about for a while. And that's Mad Lads, OK Bears, Bodagos, and Claynosaurs. So those are the 4 that I feel confident are going to be doing very well and pretty much have already been showing a lot of strength.
What's the TLDR on Bodagos? I've never really, I know it's the PO of them, but it's like just community, social network. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's so. Yeah. I believe Easy. I'm not actually that familiar with Easy. I followed him recently because I heard everybody talking about it. Apparently, he's like a beloved community member. A lot of people really fuck with him. I think he's the one that's behind it. And I guess, yeah, it is associated with the Nifty Portal team. So it has like that built-in sort of distribution to it. Definitely has a strong community, and they're definitely getting integrated a lot of places. So other than that, I don't know more. But it is compared to the other projects that we just named that I've heard of that have a lot of, recognition, strong community, et cetera, and actually decent art. The art's not really my favorite, but it's actually at least it's cool enough, interesting enough fat line art that's better quality. So it does stand out at least as good enough quality. As far as like Solana projects goes, there's just not that many that have a good team, have shown themselves to be strong, have the community, have good art. And Bodagos is one of the 4 that I think does, right. And what I was trying to say is compared to those others like Mad Lads, Claynosaurs, and what was the other one?
Bodagos.
Okay Bears. Yeah, no, those 3, it's the cheapest by far. I got in around 5 or 6 SOL, and it's already up to like 9 or 10. And so I think just based upon the fact that there's not that many quality PFPs and everybody's going to be looking for like, what are the next things that are actually affordable? That's why I think Bodagos is probably going to.
If you don't have a Solana guy yet, you need a Solana guy. All right, you gotta find one.
Who's your Solana guy?
Even if he's kind of
I'm turning into a little bit of a Solana guy. A little bit.
We might let Gifdead stick around if he gives us that Solana alpha. Hudah, you got something you're trying to pull up?
Well, guys, yeah. Did we talk about Solana on Thursday? Like the increase in the value over in that ecosystem?
We've been watching it and covering it as it's been going. I don't know if we've dug in as far as you're wanting to go right now.
Just to show your this is where it's
I want to see that.
Let's quantify it. Again, something we've never seen before. It's absolutely crazy. So the Solana ecosystem in 30 days, those NFTs have gained almost 70%. That's absolutely bonkers. So when you ask, can Ethereum or Solana flip Ethereum? Yeah, because of that. Because the NFT value, that's what people care about more than anything, and it's happening over there.
All right, from now on this show, I don't know if you want to use it outside of this Hudah, but I'm going to call it Hudify, not quantify. I want to Hudify it.
Hey.
I would like to at least coin that here. Real quick, Marty's coming in. I see everybody in chat. Cat's Fanatic. I believe you were the first OVOT fam. Excited for today's show. We are too. Energy's high. Floor prices are high. We're having a good time. Marty McFly saying here for the same financial advice given on the morning show. Good thing we have a handy dandy disclaimer, and it's visual on this show as well. And yeah, you should have been listening to us on this one for sure.
This one's hurting me because it's one of the many that I haven't. We've been talking about it and calling it, and I was waiting for it to come back down. And guess what? It didn't. It didn't. But yes, all right, let's go ahead.
It's not going to.
Yeah, well, all right. Let's go ahead and on that note, do the handy dandy disclaimer, also known as the one and only law of Web3, and that is thou shalt not speckle, which just means this isn't financial advice. Nothing we ever talk about on this network is and should never be taken as such. Always do your own research. We're just out here talking about cool shit we find on the internet. It's all public domain, and these are just opinions. So do your own research, NFA, all that stuff. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to do my best to share out the episode on X. If you guys can do the same, that would be amazing. I'm going to drop the link for y'all. Again, replies, reposts, those all help us get the awesome amount of people in here that want to participate in this chat. Zodakis, Marty McFly, Squash Man, Rob Stradamus, we are going to get to all those comments here in just one moment. I think we're good. I think if you're watching us on YouTube, on X, on Twitch, we're excited to get this show on the road. So let's just do it. I do have one quick announcement from Rektguys that was breaking about looks like an hour ago. Damn, felt like 5 minutes.
It's not really news though, is it?
How is this? You were saying this was an announcement. It's literally an announcement about a snapshot. Like this is an actual thing that happened that they announced. They said we took a snapshot of Rektguys holders at 12 a.m. Eastern on the 26th of October. We will release more details on this in due course.
Hell yeah.
I think, look, I've been talking about Rektguys for a while as a project I'm interested in that I think is going to do well. They're still sitting around half an ETH. I don't think that they've really seen a serious pump yet. I think Rektguys are going to do very well. Okay. I mean, they're pumping. Okay. They're starting to. I guess they probably about doubled. They're probably around like 0.2 or 3.
I don't understand why Blur doesn't have a 3-month, 6-month feature. It only goes back 30 days, but I can't go back to that 26th of October snapshot.
Yeah. I think Rektguys are going to do really well, and I wish I had one. I'll just say that.
All right, we are going to get to some other breaking pieces of news. Real quick, this is the episode that I just dropped there in chat. So Pudgy Penguins obviously going to be a part of the discussion today. We do see some gaming tokens that we just touched on that you should have been listening to us about and not taking any of the financial advice, because Shrapnel as well is fucking popping off. That thing is lit. Upcoming art drops. I know we had X Copy drop over the weekend, or I believe late last week. So if we have any art pieces that we want to touch on, let's do that. All right. What's that?
Rob
Hey, this is a family-friendly show.
Yeah.
It's Rob Stradamus.
Yo,
you,
just know these are recorded, and we now have you on the record, sir.
This is crypto. Never say never, man. Like, I really hope it doesn't happen for you. Or
also, the thing that I have to say that you have to watch out for is that, like, people are always going to cherry pick data to tell the story that they want. So somebody's going to be able to give you some data that shows that it flipped it. So just make sure that you're very clear on those terms.
Yeah.
But guys, it seems so obvious when, like, on a given day, Ethereum might do 10, 15 million in volume. We've seen single collections pop off and do that in just that one collection alone. To me, it doesn't take much for that to happen.
Yep.
I think the bigger question around this Solana piece, and I wanted to have this late in the episode, but it feels like we're here, is where does retail go when they come in? Because right now, again, most people know it's just kind of the same amount of traders. Maybe we're getting some people that feel like, hey, we're back, I want to throw some money around. But where does full-on retail go when they come back? It's my vote's probably Ethereum.
You know, I'm not too sure about that. I'm up with the opposite thought process here. You know, they're gonna look. I think they're gonna recognize, right? Like, anybody that's coming in has had maybe some notion of what's going on, you know, initially, and I think, you know, they're already pricey enough as it is. To add on top of it the trading fees. You know, most people, unless they've got really high conviction, they come in there and like, I'm gonna get a Pudgy, I'm gonna get a, you know, an ape or whatever. I think they're gonna either try and go to the L2s, or they're gonna look at Solana, and that's where I think the Hudah thesis is gonna play out. Where, like, that didn't work out. Hudafy, I like it.
Oh no, I like both.
But yes, I think I currently find myself right now looking at other, high TPS L2s that show promise that could come out of left field that people might not be considering. I think AVAX is an obvious player there, but, you know, going further out into the risk curve, I think, you know, I'm looking at Near, I'm looking at Phantom. I've been playing around with their beta. I highly suggest you go check it out. That's Andre Cronje, huge team there. It's phenomenal. It's fantastic. I think it's got a shot to really shine, in this coming bull run. So, you know, but I do think these are the ones that people are going to be looking at and saying, like, you know, what kind of risk reward can I look for, without spending what I would be spending on ETH, you know, where people are way more established, are, you know, way more in the know than I am. That's just my thought.
That's going to be such a crazy indicator to look at. If you like, we should hone in on that indicator to see where the inflows are coming from these exchanges as they start to trickle in, because you're going to see basically a ramp up either way. And if you see it happening on Solana, Biggie, damn,
dude,
it's not even getting started.
I want to shout out Finn, who dropped in today. Apparently, he's like part of the Ronin team.
Yeah, Finn's on
we
Wolf
were
DAO. Yeah,
we were talking about Ronin on our gaming tokens episode of GM Web 3 last Thursday, but we got a lot more context on it. I'm very bullish on what they're doing, man. The fact that they already have users, I mean, they're getting hundreds of thousands of, or at least over 100,000, like 120. I actually had that Nansen dashboard pulled up. Try and pull that up here in a second. But yeah, the more I'm learning about what Ronin's got going on, it's making me pretty bullish.
I think it's safe to say that, history doesn't, repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. Like, it's very applicable here. But I do think a lot of us that have been here through the whole bear do have very heavy bag and chain bias, and it's something that you kind of want to check on yourself because, like this guy, Rob Stradamus, it's like, you have to be willing to accept that things can come out of left field, just like maybe Solana does get clogged up and fall again, right? Like, can happen, and to think that this, especially in the NFT world, that this time around everything is just gonna happen on ETH, it's just not true. Like, look at Ethereum, look at Ordinal, look at AVAX already a little bit. To think that it's not going to spread into other chains and that other chains are not going to try to capitalize on this next bull run to really show their tech and try to make their argument on why they are superior to ETH is valid. And when I do see it as like, if you want to make the argument and be an ETH maxi and say, well, look at the L2s, look at Arbitrum, look at Base, it's like, fine, it's very fragmented, and a lot of these, I mean, Solana's coming up with Fire and Dancer, which is going to be an EVM compatible, ecosystem. So I don't know if the L2 or EVM, short, tax light system is going to be enough to take away from, again, the risk reward argument.
So Gif, you did have something there. The one thing I'll add to that convo, just the briefest thing, is my thoughts on Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga Labs not partaking in this like mania. It does have that feel of like it's almost like a boomer bag at this point. And I know Yuga's gonna come out with some crazy ass stuff with the other side. Like it's gonna melt faces probably, but at least in the short term, you're seeing this effect of like, hey, that was last cycle's thing. Like they didn't get a bid at all. I mean, you saw 10, maybe 15% up, but nothing crazy.
I wouldn't be sure that they don't have something though. They just have a knack for coming in at the right time and doing something big, and so that wouldn't shock me.
The crazier thing is that Legends of the Mara season 2 happens today, and almost nobody's talking about it. Like we've got bags of heavy metals, and I'm just not even that interested. They really did kind of fumble that, and I think we're seeing that, and obviously, yes, I agree they're going to come back from it, but right now, when and how is it just a lagging indicator that everybody kind of degens and tries to flip other things, and then eventually wants to get back into Yuga? I think that's part of it. I think that but also right now, they do have that a little bit of a stink on them for different reasons that makes it feel that way. I just want to say, to Biggie's point, because he's absolutely right. We can't get stuck in our ways. We have to be always open to new ideas, especially in how fast paced and crazy this space goes. And we know anything's fucking possible. The thing that just bugs me the most is the binary and PvP narratives of try, whenever Solana does well, that they all go out and try and trash ETH and just hating on other chains. I just hate that. And I think the reason why I think it's important is to just remember, even if Solana does well, that does not mean that ETH is going away. And it means also probably that a lot of that success ends up finding its way back to ETH at some point. These are established ecosystems. And I think even if ETH isn't the one that initially pops off, I think eventually a lot of all of that success on other places comes back into major ETH projects, things like Art Blocks, things like CryptoPunks, things like Bored Apes. Eventually, I do think.
No, you're hitting that right on the head, Gift, because this is probably the most fragmented these chains will ever be. As interoperability gets better, it's probably going to be fairly easy to move within these ecosystems. Right now, they're super fragmented.
At that point, though, something like the Solana wallet's going to fix that, or is it the Magic Eden wallet, right? I think people are going to start caring less and less and less about what chain, and it all matters what the product is. So I think that's really interesting. I noticed too something on Solana cooking up. I don't ever think Solana will compete with Ethereum on the art. I'm sorry, on the art front, but they've got something going on at Art Basel. I think they're primed to have like an art boom over there too. So you, Gift, saying something about art blocks got me thinking about that. And that is an opportunity I see over there in that Solana ecosystem.
Well, this is okay. And this is the thing that I hope that a lot of chains do not make the mistake of trying to directly compete and like be a direct alternative. I hope they're smart enough that whatever they're doing from an art perspective, they're trying to differentiate or provide a little bit different value prop, because one of the things that I think we saw in last cycle and that we will see again is this idea that all these chains can be everybody to everything and not understand that they're better for certain things or specialize. And look, Ethereum for like high-end art and like generative, like certain things, like that's going to be what it is. It's going to be very hard to directly compete with that art market. So in my mind, like I just think you have to provide a little bit different community, find a need that's not being fully met, or do something really, really like 10 to 100 times better than what they're already doing. Because yeah, your initial take was that I don't think Solana will ever compete with Ethereum's art market. I don't think it will either. You know, maybe they can find some part of that or do something different. But like, I think for Solana to try and directly compete with ETH on high-end art NFTs would be a lot of time and effort.
All right, there's two different conversations I want to have. One is this micro environment that we're looking at with like Pudgy Penguins and them just popping off. We see a ton of other collections getting a bid. Oni Force, I want to give a shout out to my fellow Ronins, to my fellow Onis in the Enclave, because we finally got to participate in that. The other thing is just the broader idea of like, hey, this is happening. We're getting to this point where it might be a bull market. So let's start with that conversation. I do have a really cool post from whale.swoosh as well here, who's talking about everything that's happened over the past year. It's December. We're getting a full recap. And he's saying sentences for which you would have been called insane at the beginning of the year. OpenSea losing a majority of its market share. Trading shares of our friends for thousands of dollars, NFT toys in Walmart, DeGods on Ethereum, punks having a 2x higher floor price than apes, people farming a random coin by posting it about it 10 times a day. Oh, good, Gifdead. Twitter will be called X. Zynga, Porsche, Ubisoft will have their own NFT projects, and BTC at 40K. What else or what stands out to you guys from Whale's post here?
How about finance going in the shitter?
Ooh,
CZ, yeah, CZ getting ousted, or FTX coming back.
There you go.
Or fucking Ordinals, right? Did he mention
Ordinals? Casey was just voted the crypto person of the year, something like that. Yeah, Ordinals for sure.
Man, there's so much.
The craziest is probably Twitter. Like, if you had told me that Twitter would be named X by the end of 2023, I'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's like one of the biggest brands in the world.
Yep, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, all those are really cool to see, just, you know, right in a row and read through it and realize how much happens in a year. More than like, man, every year just seems to move faster and faster and bigger and more things happen. It's all happening, I think, on the technology front. That's the whole beauty of this whole thing. Technology is accelerating everything.
So putting some stats to Whale's post as well, kind of over the course of the year, NFT stats saying the large cap PFP index in USD terms is back up to levels from May 2023, which is awesome to see. I mean, like literally a 2 or 3 month run here, folks, of just some really cool price action. And then you have NFT Go, which is kind of honing in on the most like local, I think, more micro look at the market as it stands right now, which is Kanpai Panda's got a bid overnight. It looks like Pudgies and Lil Pudgies, Milady, Sappy Seals, Digidaigaku, Pixelmon, World of Women, My Pet Hooligan, Oni Force, Cool Cats, and Matrix. What's up, Biggie?
I want to ask you, Hudah, like, because we do see this big pop-up, right? But my question is, it's still no new liquidity coming into the ecosystem, right? Like my thesis is that they, like you said, they saw Pudgy Penguins run, and everybody that's been in this space, I know we all have our secret little wish list of the things that we want, And I think when we saw that, you see a lot of people FOMO into all these other things that they don't want to miss out on. And they're like, man, I better get my milady or my whatever before this run up. But correct me if I'm wrong, it's still not new wallets.
So I think you are actually half wrong here. So it's not new people, but I do think it's new liquidity. Reason being is before, when that new thing came out that you had to get, typically, and this would just be most traders, you're selling an asset that you already had that probably has some value. You got to dump it to get into that next hot thing. Now, on that index that I showed at the beginning here, if you're selling your NFT off, that index is actually going down. So when that index is in the green, that usually represents fresh liquidity coming in. So it's got to be, it's those gains on Bitcoin. It's that meme coin drop. It's all the action we've been seeing.
Or a little bag you were saving up to buy in on the dip or whatever. And maybe that you feel like the dip didn't come and you're like, man, I'm bringing this in now.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh,
I want
the dip's been dipping.
Travel man or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Yep. Spot on.
The dip's been dipping. Got it. Yo, shout out Quasar. Haven't seen you in a minute. It's great to see you back.
Let's get to some of these comments too, fellas. If you guys see comments that are coming out, because we actually need to go back and look at these. But Biggie, what's your thought there? And then let's get to some of these comments.
My only thought there is that, like, what's driven this market up so far, it's the same people. That's my only thing that I want to keep in the back of my head. And it's like, because the fundamentals, like the macro, again, just zooming way out. It's like the macro, the regular markets, the situation that we're in. We have rate cuts coming up or not. All these other things, like, there's still something that can come out and sweep the leg, right? And we know that markets like to move in the direction of causing the most pain. And I think right now in our space, we have a lot of euphoria. And like you said, Hudah, the liquidity that's come in, it's FOMO driven by the same people. It's not new people coming in. So this is just something that's in the back of my head, trying to tone things down and be like, don't fall for it just yet.
I'm gonna stand for Blur, like I have been for a little while. But I'll also give you some data here, Biggie Pop. And so on looks like September 8th, the unique traders on Blur were 1,300. Yesterday, they were 3,400. So we've seen an increase in unique buyers, at least, like looking at some data. But nobody's complaining about Blur right now. The prices are going up, baby. The bids are the mechanics are still the same for season 3. Look, they have not changed the mechanics for season 3. It's the same process as season 2.
Staking.
So I did see something interesting there, and it was from NFT Stats. I think he tweeted it this morning. It's that these people that are farming over on Blur are not losing like they were in season 2. They figured out how to change their approach and their game, where they're just at least breaking even on trades. And if they can do that, that to me makes this so much more sustainable.
That just feels like it has nothing to do with Blur and everything to do with losing money just trading on the open market.
Yes. Yeah, very much.
Yeah. I would love us to like all go listen to that Pac-Man interview and then like have a real discussion, or even try and get him on the fucking show, because I thought it was a brilliant and like insightful interview that Biggie brought in. So again, shout out to you for finding that. But like, I do have like a concern about his ideas. Like, it seems like his ideas justify everything that he's doing by this sort of like old ways of like everything centralizing, which to me, I think is actually kind of like not really what this whole movement of this, like the ethos of decentralization is supposed to be about. Like, he seems to talk very much like, oh yeah, if you watch every financial market, they all just condense to the top. And so I'm just part of that same movement. And I'm like, okay, yes. And also the chance to like actually create new, more equitable systems is being thrown out the window then. So anyway, that's one thing I've been thinking about. And I hope we can like maybe have like a deeper discussion on that. The one other thing that I'll add is that I do think part of why we're seeing so much euphoria and this massive shift and people starting to unload their bags, even though it might not be a lot of new people right now, is that while Biggie's right that we need this sort of like level set these expectations maybe a little bit better, what everybody's doing is trying to beat in what they think is coming, which is that everybody's going home for the holidays. There's probably an ETF. Bitcoin's just shot past 40K. everybody's going to be onboarding their friends and family, and there's going to be a lot more people starting to look at that saying like, dang, Bitcoin and Ethereum aren't going anywhere, huh? What was that NFT? What was that crypto thing you told me about? And I do think in the new year, you will see some new money and new wallets starting to come in. I don't think it's like all of a sudden you see a million people, but if you do get an ETF plus like crypto doing well and everybody like and their friends now being like, told you so, that's the type of thing that does actually get a few more people starting to come in.
I am not onboarding anybody. People ask me shit during these holidays. I'm not talking to you.
But that see, Biggie, your reticence onboards them even faster because they say, oh shit, this guy doesn't even have time for me anymore. I fucking missed out. I could have been like, yeah.
All right, guys, let's do this because we haven't hit the comment section all episode, and we appreciate you guys so much for being active throughout. You see the comment section there on your right side. Go ahead and pick out one that you want to touch on. I'll kind of just fly through some of these right from the beginning.
I honed in on Marty's that like we all have multiple wallets, right? So like this doubling of unique wallets that you just showed us, Q, on Blur, could very well be just people, using and transacting with other wallets, additional wallets, right? So it doesn't, completely confirm that it's new people coming in.
True. I want to give a huge shout out to Cats Fanatic. I don't know where I'd be without you. I definitely wouldn't have this huge fucking bag of Valyria without you. Marty McFly saying here for the financial fight. Yeah, we heard that. Rob Stradamus, Pudgy pumping. WTF, will this sustain, and why is Azuki more than MAYC? Marty's making his vote there for Solana not overtaking Ethereum. Squash is saying a lot of different environments than the open edition meta from a year ago we were trying to capitalize on, and I love it. Let's see. Marty's also saying, I'm not impressed by the Solana NFT ecosystem at all. As you can expect, it will go back down soon. Nice to see you, Zodicus, and others that are showing up now. Guys, anything you want to pull out?
The one quick thing to Marty's point is that, like, I too, Marty, I'm with you. I am not impressed overall, but I think this is why there's going to be like a handful of big winners over there. There's only a few really good teams that have stuck at it that are building quality products over there. And so it's just, to me, the opportunity there is to like clearly see the winners way ahead of time. That's it. Like, again, I'll say the four that I'm confident in: Mad Lads, OK Bears, Bodagos, Claynosaurs. To me, maybe there's one other that I don't know of yet, but if you play definitely in those four, the thing is, there's not going to be that many places that everybody's going to want to ape their Solana gains into. When culture matters and status matters in an ecosystem, you have to have a few NFTs win.
Okay. Yeah. You have to differentiate here. Okay, go Hudah.
Well, I'll say, keep in mind, we have not even hit new mint season. Yeah. And when that comes, which I really think it's coming, man,
there'll be a few winners.
People are going to love the low gas, the no gas. You might really win some people over. And then just as quickly, you'll lose them as soon as the validators are switched off, if that ever happens again. But that's the thing you got to be careful about.
Yeah. And Saurian's brought up. Good one.
Yeah. I will add, and like this goes back a little bit to what you were talking, Gif, about Pac-Man, right? Like why he's building Blast, right? Like, it's very, first of all, we want people like that. Like that's such a bold move. And I encourage anybody to go and check out like Proof's Friday 100 Proof. NFT Stats talks a little bit about Pac-Man and like why he is also very much bullish on Blast, right? And it has very much to do with the builder there, right? And like how competitive this guy is. To me, I just love it because it signals and verifies something that we all have in the back of our heads, right? And the reason why all these L2s exist, and it's that because currently, as it stands, Ethereum, I'm sorry, all you maxis out there, is not fucking perfect, right? It's not as decentralized as we'd like it to be. It's not as robust, right? Like, and there's a reason why a lot of people are very bullish on, on ordinals, right? Because you're inscribing directly on like the OG chain, like the most permanent, like, robust chain out there. Whereas Ethereum, we know, even just with our NFTs, like the metadata argument that we constantly have, is it on chain? Is it an IPFS? Is it an Arweave? I think Ethereum will thrive and win as a lingua franca, right? And it's the reason why any of these other chains that start up
can't say that to me, Biggie Poppins. I'm uncultured.
It's fine. Lingua franca, it's like it's the common tongue, right? Like that's why every chain has an EVM counterpart, right? And that's why every DeFi like protocol has, it has its presence in different chains, because you're hedging on that bet, on like having those bridges, that capacity to go where this your superior tech is going to be, right? So when I look at this, everything that's going on right now with all of these chains, it makes me super bullish, and I think we're going to see a bull run and like projects pop off in chains that we might not even be talking about right now, right? Where it's like, holy crap, look at this. Look at how well, and it has an EVM. We can go straight there. And it's already been proven that like NFTs can travel cross chain, right? And retain their value and the community. For whatever we think of DeGods, like that's something that they helped us see, right? So I don't know, man. I am not by any means an Ethereum maxi. I don't know. I lost my train of thought now. Like I forgot.
Biggie, how much do you have locked up in Blast?
Why do Gifdead always blowing up people's spots, dude?
do you have a significant, like, yes or no? How, like, are you locked up over there?
I am very little. I am nothing significant on Blast. Be honest. I've raised my concerns and my reasons for not being 100% in.
All right.
And I think, yeah, you just play how you want to play. But
if you see any other comments, guys, please bring them into the conversation. I do have a comment over here on NFT Live, so I see everybody watching us over there on X. Soul Poor. I'm soul poor right now. Look at Drip House talking about Solana art, having to talk about Drip. Sign up through your Phantom, free NFTs dropped into your wallet. So big shout out to Soul Poor there, DJ and Crashbot on that little tip.
Yeah, I mean, we've covered Drip House quite a lot, and I still didn't do it because because again, I fade a lot of things that I should put time into. The thing now that I worry about with it is like, is it basically just junk mail? Like you're subscribing to basically get Polygon airdrops, because that's what it is. It's marketing at this point. Like you're talking about art, and yes, it is marketing for artists, because you get your art into a bunch of different people's wallets, and so they discover you. It's a great discovery tool. But I don't know how many of these that are getting dripped out to hundreds of thousands of people are ever going to be super valuable pieces. I'm sure some of them will be. And that's why I'm fucking up by fading it. But also, like, do any of y'all agree that like at a certain point when you just got hundreds of thousands of people subscribed to a thing and you're all getting airdropped the same thing, it's just like junk mail?
Yeah.
Sounds like Blast Token.
Yeah.
You mean Portal?
No, Blast. The Blast token that you're going to get, that everyone's going to get.
Oh, you think that's like junk mail? Okay, all right.
Interesting. All right, Marty. Okay, so here we go. Is this our first Solana maxi that's coming into the show to blow up the spot? Here we go.
No.
Marty's still coping, back holding EGG. Open your effing mind, Maxi. Got it. Hey, you know what? Good day to you too, Hazy. Appreciate you showing up.
Come on, man.
There we go. Hey, we did this here. This is gonna piss Hazy off even more. Holy shit! This is
Marty says.
One of the
Marty
worst
says
transitions.
I don't cope.
In the history of this show, will definitely be this. We did the Rate My Bags 13th edition here last week. I just wanted to give that a quick shout out. The next time you see this is going to be Jan 1. It's going to have S. It's going to have an S, a God tier above that. We're just gonna have a full updated list. It's not gonna have this club.
Everything.
It's gonna be just the nicest goddamn tier list you ever seen.
I thought of one that we didn't add that I just remind us, don't forget, Skulls of Lucy is not there. We missed that one.
Is Skulls rock PFP? There's a couple.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, people that have those definitely rock those PFPs. Also, shout out Marty McFly switching up his to a very nice looking squig, single-handedly making the case for why Squiggles needs to stay on this. Right there.
Yes,
sir. Shout out to Choina as well, who dropped a message saying he needs to check us on Rate My Bags. He was like, I should have been there live to check y'all. I'm sure he would have defended Avagachi there. All right, real quick, I'm going to play a Machi trailer that's going to transition us into, I guess, you know what? I'm just going to break this up with a Machi trailer. We're going to continue talking about the same thing, the market.
Trailer
Let's go,
maxis.
Let's
go.
On my plate. I just said my grace and then I ate. Got a particular taste. I just stuffed my pockets in my face. Okay, let's have a debate. We talking about popping. I promise I'm feeling away. I took the bodies up out of my closet. I buried them deep and they still in the way. Make room on my plate. I just said my grace and then I ate. Got a particular taste. I just stuffed my pockets in my face. Got a particular taste. Hey, got a particular taste. I just said my grace and then I. Hey. Hey.
All right, looks like they had a good time there in Taipei post Ape Fest. That looked like a classic Machi party. Sheesh.
Wait, has he thrown a lot of these parties? I've never seen a Machi party.
He's done a couple like after events. He's never like the guy throwing the event. He's always the after event guy, you know?
Looks like a good time. So wait, this was not in Hong Kong. This was in Taipei.
Yeah, remember we actually talked with Machi about how he never goes.
Yeah,
to
well, I knew he
Hong
wasn't
Kong.
going. I guess I initially took this as he like sponsored and hosted a Hong Kong after party, but no, this was at his own location.
Crypto Elf of Rivendell saying how much did he pay them? He certainly paid them a good amount. I would think.
Paid him something.
I was gonna say.
Hey, look, he's making. That's the first Bored Ape utility that I've seen in a while. So for those of you that didn't know, the only way you could get an invite to that was by owning an ape in MAYC. I don't think he did the kennel clubs, unfortunately, for the doggo holders. But yeah, there's some ape utility there. Also, let's jump back into this. So I broke it up with a little bit of a Machi party. You should have been listening to us on Valeria.
Damn.
You should have been listening to us on Shrapnel. Here, if we go out to
At least I
14-day
got
chart.
back in on Shrap. Okay, I fucked up initially, but I made my way back in, and I got in below 25 cents. So this was looking really good still.
So
but Valeria is the other one that I was just watching and like waiting for it to drop. And of course,
so Valeria is at 47 cents. Yeah, you can see this chart looks fantastic, up about 200%. Since we were here on the show, not calling financial advice. Also, Shrapnel, again, like we're saying, I believe was around 12 cents when we started talking about it. So those are some nice calls. I will say Shrapnel operator's still sitting around 0.2. That's where I bought back in after that whole lawsuit FUD. I just didn't want to see it run. It's still kind of sitting around the spot that I bought it at. I do think those end up running. NFA, of course. Thank you, Marty McFly. Real quick, guys, just across the board.
Marty's also he moonlights
us-
as our lawyer.
He's trying to get us hemmed up. I see what he's doing. All right, guys, this conversation here, we saw Pudgy's run. Of course, now we have to have the convo. What's the next Pudgy Penguins? What's the next thing? What are we looking at here on both the crypto side, as we see Bitcoin and Ethereum doing well? That's a thing that's not talked about, by the way, is that all of these NFTs are running while ETH is running. So it's like a compounding feature there because all of these NFTs are priced in ETH. All right, so tokens, or probably more apt for this conversation, as we looked at the top performers. What are we seeing here, fellas?
I think the next Pudgy Penguin type run, I'm not saying it's the same numbers, just percentage wise or whatever. I think Creeps has got the wind in the back of their, in their backs, right now with Portal Coin and a rumored other token dropping. So I don't know. I think that between now and January we could see these little fuckers run quite a bit more.
These little fuckers.
They're already pretty expensive. What's the distro on the supply?
9,300.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, man. They definitely have a lot of momentum. they're just also so expensive already for something that I don't know. I don't know. That's a good call though. I think that's a good call. The one, yeah, this is clearly the next Pudgy Penguins. But no, the one, like when you say Pudgy Penguins, I think more about like what's the more like toy style, you know, like cartoon IP that's going in that direction. And the one that comes to mind, because a lot of them are all trying to copy that, like basically the Luca Nets playbook, if we can call it that at this point, like create a cool family friendly brand and get a bunch of partnerships and build out your IP through cool merch and get it into a bunch of stores and distribution centers. And the one that comes to mind right now is Cool Cats. I think we've seen a lot of awesome stuff from the Cool Cats team that shows the potential for this IP, that it can actually create cool experiences and cool merch. And they have the capability of actually getting it out there into places like Macy's, et cetera, and on their website and in their stores and even in their fucking parade. So I think everything that we've been seeing from Cool Cats over the last couple months is showing a tremendous amount of momentum in that direction, and that they might be undervalued now. That's my opinion. And Doodles is the other one that I think has a potential, but I'm not gonna lie. Like their experiences, I think, are amazing, but like on the merch side of things, like I'm not sold yet. Like, dude, your Doodle guy is cool, but like he creeps me out. Like I'm not sold that these characters have that like family friendly thing. He's gonna go get him. Yeah, go get him. He's creepy. Oh, Doodle's IP is strong as fuck, but like,
wow. I like those actually a lot.
Yeah,
but
they're
they
cool.
are creepy. Like I didn't think of that till you said it here, and they are kind of weird.
It's the dead eyes, bro. It's the dead eyes.
Also, I didn't realize how much like Cool Cats make me think of those Bodogos. You know, like I'd never associated them with each other, and all of a sudden I do. Yeah.
Yeah, simple fat line art. Yeah, Bodogos definitely. Yeah, I like that comparison.
All right, I'm looking at the top charts here. Yeah, this is the Doodles that my man's here talking about. Vinyl figurine here. I do have a full list here. One that I don't think I'm ever going to get into, but apparently is picking up steam, is Pixelmon. Apparently, Pixelmon has been building throughout the bear. Here's the narrative that's there. I didn't hear one of you MFers talk about it for the last like 6-7 months, but apparently they've been building
bring it all the time as a fucking joke,
as a meme. But apparently they've been getting it. Oni Force, I'm not going to spend time on shilling because you guys hear us talk about Oni Force all the time.
Can we pull up the one big update from them? Can we at least hit that?
Yeah, we're just looking at the project. Yeah, okay. Totally. You're like upset that I'm gonna.
Well, no, I thought you were just trying to skip past it, and I shared this in the chat, and I did want to make sure that we hit it at least.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we could.
This is actually really cool news.
You could share. You could put that in the dashboard too.
Okay, you're right.
Here we go.
You're right. But no, this is a big story from one of our favorite collections, and that's that they're extending the Oni point system basically to everybody. You don't have to have an expensive PFP to get in and start earning rewards and participating in this ecosystem. I actually think this is a really cool move to extend it out and hopefully get some more people engaged, especially ahead of their big Fortnite tournaments, which they're all ramming up to. So yeah, it's actually a pretty big announcement, and hopefully it gets some more people excited.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the reaction of this Oni Force event with Juju Smith-Schuster in Fortnite. They've been pushing this heavily. You guys have heard us talk about it, so I'll be interested to see that. I'll tell you, just DGen checklist for me, DGen bingo card for me is the founder really like front and center on one of these big projects. Star-Lordy 100% is that. And I think he's going to push the project that way. I also think there's no secondary collection. There's no. I think these NFT tokens these NFT projects will start to launch tokens. So I was about to put that on my bingo card, but really you don't see almost any NFT projects with tokens. You saw them start to run with grapes and a couple of these others. But yeah, I think the secondary collection there for Oni Force will happen at some point. I would take the over on that if I was a betting man, but not NFA, of course.
Yeah, guys, random Oh, go ahead, Gift. Go ahead.
Well, just real quick reminder, like they're partnered with Horizon Labs on this reward system. So do with that information what you will, but Horizon Labs has a very specific skill set. that they're like building out, right?
Hudah, I want to get to your point as well. That's a really fantastic one, by the way, Gif. Horizon Labs did the staking for ApeCoin. We got a Perils of Sese that I want to get to, but Hudah, what's your thoughts here?
It was just about the gaming or tokens in general. Have you guys heard these rumors that Pudgy Penguins maybe have a token coming too?
Yep.
Yeah, there's something there, and that's been I've heard for a couple days now, and it's just kind of it's getting louder and louder. So if you didn't hear that, that's now on your radar. There's something maybe going on.
I talked about that a while ago, but we didn't have any evidence, so we didn't like spend a lot of time on it. But that was part of the speculation, right? It was that like that's part of why it's been doing so well, is that there's actually a bunch of whales waiting for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see it.
Cats Fanatic saying when they launch tokens, OpenSea will delist them just like Neo Tokyo this past week. I had no idea that happened.
Interesting.
Neo Tokyo
Citizens collection. So I think they already had a token. Maybe I could be totally wrong there, but if it's new or it already existed, they took their Citizens, or I think that was the collection. One of them specifically, they delisted and they had to launch their own marketplace. That's exactly what they did to Valeria.
Wow. Valeria Land is one thing we haven't touched on. By the way, we do have Valeria on. Valeria Land's essentially going to yield the Valeria token as it comes out.
How does that work with something like Shrapnel or Parallel?
It may have to do with the way you generate the token. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's weird because it seems like they're just kind of picking and choosing here. And you can't get an answer for them, so nobody knows.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
I love you bringing up Pac-Man. I've been a fan of Pac-Man clearly, but like that's the type of fucking leader we do need in this space. Not the ones that are like, we're gonna wait for regulation whenever that does happen. Oh, by the way, we're gonna make it as gray as possible. This area that we're banning projects from. That sounds a lot like the U.S. government, to be fair. Not to go down that big of a rabbit hole, but leave it as vague as possible and then bring down the hammer.
I think like one of the things when they asked him, right, is like, I'm just bringing the space to its logical conclusion, right? You know, like if somebody wasn't going to remove royalty, somebody else was. Like I think it was already on the radar. He quickly recognized that there was a market for like high frequency traders that weren't like, you know, buying and holding NFTs. I think the only difference is like he's ripping off the Band-Aid. Like he's not like you said, Q. He's not being like cautious about it. He's just trying to get to that end conclusion so that we can finally like build from there and see what we can make, right? Like people that are just sitting there waiting, you know, for royalties to come back are gonna fucking get murdered, you know?
Yeah, and like you've got to applaud his competitiveness and his ability to execute quickly on these opportunities that he sees. Obviously, the one thing again when we have a bigger conversation, the one concern I have is that like that it's sort of an excuse to just be like, oh, well, this is just the logical conclusion to where everything's going to go. You can just kind of cloak yourself in that for doing whatever. And so it removes you from all sort of accountability and any sort of idea of, is there any ethic or morality behind anything that I'm doing here? Well, this is just what would inevitably happen, I'm sure. And it's like, maybe that could be true under certain circumstances, but also you are a human being with a lot of power and control to make decisions on your own. It's not just purely deterministic without you like going a certain way. That's what worries me about that thinking.
My issue with that is like, if you take that mentality and you put that mentality into like the Wild West that we always talk about, you're dead. You're like the first guy dead. Like literally you'd be the first one on the train talking about ethics and morals, and your ass would be the first one that was left. It's like, no, this is
along
fucking
with
out here.
Talking about community.
We're fucking out here on the fucking fringes. This shit's about survival. It's about building really cool shit, but it's just like
I know, but at some point, if there's not like, once you amass a certain amount of power, wealth, and influence, if you don't find a way to redirect some of that energy towards actually instilling some kind of values, then you are just a soulless corporate shill. And like, I don't think everybody is that. I think humanity is more than just pure capitalism with nothing else in it. Yeah. And so that's where like I always push back at the end of the day. It's that like, okay, are you nihilistic and just saying money over everything and that's how you want to live your entire life? or do you want to at some point stand up for something that actually matters to you?
Yeah, it's funny. This is the same conversation people have about Elon Musk, saying that he needs to kind of focus on improving our world instead of getting us off that, because
I think
that's
he is
inevitably where we're going.
In his own way, dude. That's why he bought X. You know, that's a political move. Like X is the first business decision there where he has overpaid for something completely because it's ideological. It's not just business to him. There's an ideological play, and he thinks that. Like, I don't know how much y'all have been following the fallout since.
If I may,
I don't want to have the Elon discussion.
Real quick, he's been campaigning now about how Twitter is the world's public square, free, like for the people, by the people. Like that's what he really is. Whether you agree or not, he is dedicated to his idea of trying to protect free speech and have a platform for that is not overrun by the government and censorship, etc.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that.
If I may, though, like, you know, sometimes it's very interesting to me how we want to place all this responsibility on the builders and leaders out there and not
in the market clearly
reins by ourselves, right? Like, you know, there are cultures out there, folks, that don't need the nanny state to grab them by the hand and make sure they behave all the way, right? Like, case in point, look at Japan, right? Look at how they behave when there's an earthquake or there's scarcity. You know, they don't fucking bum rush everybody and stomp on everybody. They don't need the government or like some laws or anybody to tell them how to fucking behave like normal human beings. I think it's also the same here with crypto, right? It's like, why does Pac-Man also have to be, you know, the leader and take up this responsibility of being ethical and this and that? Dude, the guy is building in a space where it's dog eat dog. If you want people to, you know, pay royalties, dude, just set the royalties. I see it all the time. You see it with people on art blocks. You see it. Lead by example. Anyway.
He's also not FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, right? Like the issue with making the like he's a soulless MFer. It's like he's building financial products.
He's not at that level yet, but he is.
I wouldn't even be close
positioning. But look. The question of like why certain people is because at the end of the day, only a few people have the power and the resources to really like create systemic changes that can redirect the course of like human history and this whole fucking industry. I can't. I don't have that power. So it's nice for me to go out there and pay royalties on certain things and try and stand up and talk about this with the platform that I have. But I am not going to meaningfully shift the needle like somebody like he can.
Are you paying full royalties on everything that you've traded?
Not on everything,
month?
But no, like
not?
Again, bro, because again, I don't have the, like, it doesn't like, dude, I am going to pay royalties when I can, because I believe that's right. And for artists that I can, I'm going to do that. I can't honestly, where I'm at, like afford or justify it in my own life. And this is the truth of it. The truth of it is that it doesn't actually fucking matter what I do. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we're
you can sit up here and lampoon me all day for not paying full royalties sometimes.
Well, that's what I was saying from the beginning, Gif, was that people are out here trying to survive. And so like that's where I was getting lambasted a year ago for saying that exact same thing, and we ended up here.
Dude, but even my take then was like, look, if you can't afford it and you need to survive, like I get it. Like that was my take then, if you recall. So like I understand the competitive nature of it and needing to survive better than a lot of people in this space. But my point is that like there are certain people that actually have power and what they do actually matters for the rest of us. And I think Pac-Man is still competing and building himself up. But like at a certain point, like if he's positioning himself to be one of those few people that can actually make meaningful change. And I just hope at a certain point that he does start to want to engage with some of these ethics or morals or whatever you want to call them, the ethoses of Web3 in some way to try and create some meaningful change. Because again, the alternative to that is that all this life is a nihilistic race to the bottom of dog eat dog, dollar for dollar. I don't
think it's that binary, but yeah. I think there's a middle ground between what you're talking about and nihilism and dog eat. There's some type of middle ground, but you're hoping.
And this is getting very philosophical, so I'll stop. We can talk about it another time.
I have this update that's not going to sit well with everybody who is on base. Brian Armstrong stating officially
this sucks
that there's no base token. I would have bet for sure that there was a base token coming
for the self-proclaimed farmers that were transacting and doing stuff on remaining.
Hey, turn down that filter. Turn down that condescension filter, sir. Any thoughts here on the base token? Then, guys, we could touch on anything. We did have a question on the Perils of Sese that dropped last week.
Okay, first thought, it sucks there's not going to be a base token. I was really hoping there would be. Second thought is that it makes me feel like it's less likely the OpenSea drops one. It's not necessarily the same thing. You're right, like because OpenSea is in such a position that like they don't have that many options. I think there's still a chance OpenSea does, but because they've both kind of always steered on staying on that side of being like totally legally, Web 2.5 compliant. Great word. That is the word. Thank you. I just feel like this is a sign to me that of why it's unlikely that OpenSea ever would.
I mean, again, OpenSea delisting or disabling Neo Tokyo, doing it to Valeria, they're not going to do a token. I wish they would. They're never going to do it.
They're not that cool, man.
They're not that cool. Sucks.
They're not.
Squashman saying, damn it, was hoping my friend pet activity would help farm base. I still don't think these statements are forever.
Or the friend tech stuff, right? Like a lot of people were were going to get like double rewards there. It's part of it, right?
Prodigy, nice to see you here. Our moderator here on the network, Wang Danga. Good to see you, brothers. And Squashman saying the guy that is going to be next. This analogy is already passed, but he's saying next to the guy saying GM every morning. I am that guy too. I'm that guy too. All right,
morning,
guys. I need your answer here on Perils here.
I am a fan. Seneca has a very big following. And yeah, it's unfortunate that it's below mint right now. Having said that, I do think a lot of people bought into this expecting some kind of flip or pump. Didn't happen. Regardless, I remain, if you bought it because you're a fan of Seneca and, and Transient Labs also, who partnered with her, I think long-term, like they could come up with a couple of aces out of their sleeves. I don't think you buy this though to flip or to expect like immediate returns. I think you buy this because you like Seneca's work and you want to see what her and Transient Labs tech can come up like is going to unveil as this story moves forward. So I'm a fan of being part of it, but yeah, not necessarily for an investment. It's not the best. I mean, it's best right now if you get it, under mint, for sure. But I think it's interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm a Transient Labs maxi, and I do like Seneca's artwork too. So I'll be there.
It dropped at an interesting time.
Go ahead.
Well, it just feels like we just cycled away from art to PFPs, like literally like last week. So just kind of a victim of just when it dropped. But
good point.
But I do think it'll age well. It's a small collection, and it
also because Flamingo swept the living shit out of art, right? And like raised floor prices to like unachievable levels for some. So
yeah, that was wild.
All right. I have a couple last updates, guys. Throw in the chat what you'd like to see. I know I have this Lego piece here as well, gift to go out on. Real quick, I want to share just some pieces that I'm seeing right now. This Coinbase commercial dropped last week, and it was really successful. The sentiment was awesome. We didn't get a chance to touch on it because it was dropped on that Friday. We got some Yuga Labs announcements too. Tiger Global, a large investment firm based in the U.S., marked down its BAYC, or probably more likely its Yuga Labs investment down 69% here. And then we do have
why not 70%? Yeah. They fucking purposefully.
That's amazing
for the culture. That's ridiculous.
And then we have this update, which was I believe today or yesterday. What's going on here, Gif?
So I actually got this, picked this up from Wei, who's one of the people behind, I think it's Old Fashioned Research, which is like the team that acquired Oniforce. He was sharing this out as being like, this is an example of like why Oniforce is doing the right thing, right? He just pointed this out, like, hey, you know who else is building an Oniforce experience or a Fortnite experience? It's Oniforce. Check this shit out. This is apparently a Lego. There's a whole Lego fucking Fortnite experience. There's a bunch of stuff here, but this is pretty wild seeing it on the sphere like this. And I don't actually know like if Lego and Fortnite probably partnered on this. This seems like the type of thing that they'd split the bill for because they both get promoted. You know what I mean? But the fact that Lego is, you know, these big brands along with Fortnite are putting this type of marketing budget into promoting these experiences is actually pretty fucking bullish. I do think that's an expensive placement. I don't know if y'all have paid attention to how much they're charging for you to advertise on the sphere. It's like, I don't have it in front of me, but just know it's like, yeah, very expensive to be on there, even for a very short amount of time. It's some of the most valuable advertising real estate in the world right now because it is a special display that gets all this earned media on top of you know who's seeing it.
They're pushing hard then because they also showed off the Fortnite Lego collab or world during the Eminem concert over the weekend in Fortnite. So they're really pushing that out there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And Oniforce is there, man. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's pretty cool.
I want to follow up on this because we just got a post about 15 minutes ago from Seneca saying we have our first distinguished guest, judge, and curator. Please welcome Roger Dickerman to the Perils story as he will choose alongside us the Perils story entries that inspire us most.
Okay, so now this is feeling similar to me to the Skulls of Lucci, where there's like this ongoing community interaction that tells the story in a different way.
Perils might be a good grab. I know Marty called it a cash grab when it first came out because of it's associated with anything Yuga. But this, I mean, it's at what 0.149? If it's going to continue, if it's going to continue having kind of like artist spotlights or storyteller spotlights.
My favorite thing of the Monument game was realizing what it would inspire. These very interactive art things, you know, artists, again, interacting and making their collectors part of the artwork itself. I didn't realize they were doing anything like this, but that's actually very exciting.
Did you guys check out, did you guys see Super Ego also that launched on Transient Lab? That like minted out in 3 seconds.
Oh, wow.
Like ridiculous. Really cool kind of Grail stuff project that they're going to reveal at Art Basel. So there's like 7 different types of like, what do you call them? V for Vendetta masks, kind of glitchy ones.
That's cool.
And then they're going to reveal like the artists come, you know, Miami time. And yeah, I missed out on that one. I was pretty pissed.
And yes, Marty, that was a pricey mint. Absolutely.
Yeah, I did. So I speaking of pricey, I picked this. I made the ultimate noob mistake, which I literally was like hitting myself for because I literally bought it in the pump right after it fucking minted. So I bought this one for like 0.28. So it's already like almost half of what I got. But I'm actually very bullish on holding on to this because I think there's still a lot to come. And the artist is like one of the most well-known artists in all of NFTs.
I think so. She's been working on it for a while, folks. Like, so Seneca was a Grail artist. I think it was like Grail's 2 or 3. No, Grail's 3. And one of her pieces was called Shermie. It's one of these characters that you're seeing now on Perils of Sese. And she alluded to have been working on this world building kind of story thing since then. So this is not something that she just woke up one day and said, like, Marty, you're insinuating like, oh, I'm going to, you know, just pump out a quick piece of art and go for a cash grab. I think there's more beneath the surface. It's just, and I think it's also smart, right? Like,
it's beautiful art too. It's actually beautiful.
Bags and hyping stuff up and everything. Let it unravel naturally. Let people get to experience this new Transient Labs contract. And you know, because in the end, I think it is a little more artistically focused and story heavy project. You know, it is not, I don't think there's going to be a coin, folks. So if that's the reason you bought it, like, yeah. So sorry.
All right, folks, we are ending the episode here in just a moment. I'm going to let these guys have any last takes, anything they're looking at as we progress through the start of this week here in just a moment. Any other comments we should get to fellas. I'm seeing some from Squash here. As soon as there's official clarity with token drops and legal means of doing so for these larger platforms in the U.S., trying to stick to the book, a token will drop. Okay, Degens will speculate too. So I see what you're talking about. I probably read that off wrong grammatically, but yeah, we see what you're getting at. In the meantime, it's probably just going to be Asia. They're just going to go on
have the fun
as usual. Yeah, they're going to have some fun. All right, I think that's it from my end. I was looking for any other pieces of breaking news, but I think that Roger Dickerman piece is super interesting to wrap up the show. And Perils, I mean, at 0.17 below mint price. Sounds like
I'll bring up one that people did not see necessarily coming. Dude, it pains me because I missed it, and I did see it coming. DeltaSauce launched views on brain drops.
What did you just say? You're speaking a different language. DeltaSauce.
Come on,
crazy Doug.
Come on.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that sentence again.
Yeah. You're right. So DeltaSauce is a really not a really famous but well recognized and regarded AI artist, and he launched his views collection on the Brain Drops platform, which is an AI focused platform. Clear Silver, Pindar Van Arman, all those guys there, Root Rainstro. It got heavily botted, but it generated a ridiculous amount of ETH, and I still think it's under an ETH. Please tell me it's still under an ETH, because I'd love to pick one up at some point.
Oh, it's over, I think.
Yeah, great. Happy. But yeah, this is from a lot of the art communities that I'm part of, is being lauded as like the next Root Rainstro, which is the guy that did Life in West America. And I think if you guys want to find out, there's a thread there by Astam Cloud, friend of the channel, from Collector's Corner, which I think is very elucidating on this sector that I think is being faded heavily. I think like the complete market cap of AI art is very, very low in comparison to, say, PFPs, to Gen Art. And I think it's as legitimate. And if you see the tools that are being just launched left, right, center, Pika for AR video, the new stable diffusion models. This is not going away, folks. People are just going to get better and better at it. And this is a time that you might be want to start finding those artists that aren't as recognized yet and picking up some of their pieces, because they are very accessible. And I think it's really cool art. If you look at DeltaSauce's pieces, it's phenomenal. And he does homages to a lot of people, from Grant Yun to Red Rum, to Clown Vamp, like really to Alpha Centauri Kid. Really great pieces, already like being lauded as a fantastic collection. And yeah, I think AI is something that I am starting to monitor very closely, because come this next cycle, and as we move along, like it's just one sector that is heavily slept on, I think, not only by PFP and Degens, but also even by Gen Art maxis or aficionados. Like I still think a lot of people poo-poo AI art when it is very clear that it's here to stay. There's got some legit fucking firepower, and it's only going to get better. So get acquainted with it now and follow DeltaSauce. He's fucking cool as shit.
Dude, on that note, I want to throw out one of our OG favorite people, Jeff Jag, because I think that he's the type of person that will get a lot more credit when AI starts to get more credit, because he's been around doing awesome AI for a long time. So I want to shout him out.
All right, real quick, before we head out of here, Biggie, you just had a long explainer there. Let's say your last thoughts here in general, and then we'll move to Hudah, and then we'll finish out with GIF. I think there's a
like
Pepe piece
and stuff.
Yeah,
we're ending so early. No, I'm kidding, folks. This is what we've been waiting for. I hope that we don't necessarily have another pullback. I'm trying to remain a little sober. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to experience this with you guys. And I think we're in for a heck of a ride, dude. If we're seeing this now, it's not even 2024. It's going to be insane. So I can't help but just get excited and to be part of this network with the OVOT fam. So with that, see you tomorrow.
This never works for me.
It does not work for me. It's unfortunate. Hudah, last words, bro.
Yeah, I guess just a quick art mention since we've been talking about it, especially at the end of this show here. A heads up, if you were looking forward to the FX hash drop, the 2.0 marketplace last week, it didn't happen. They delayed it because they were having trouble with the, I guess, Ethereum integration. So that's now coming next week. And there are some really, really great pieces that are coming as part of that. So December 12th, we're going to run it back and do it again. I made some calls on the artwork. I did it on a separate video, but we can do that here since we've got some days. So if you guys want to do that, that'd be a lot of fun. And also Christie's has an auction this week. They're auctioning a Zancan generative piece. They're auctioning a Jack Butcher signature token number 0. Jack Butcher stuff may just fly. Yeah, it's gonna be a good week for art. Even though it's slowed down, it may bounce right back to for this week.
The art narrative is only going to grow. I think right now PFPs are just starting to get some love finally, but you know the art's coming back. I mean, that Flamingo DAO situation. By the way, I looked at some of what they swept. One of the biggest things that they swept was Kim Asendorf cargoes. And my heart literally like sunk through my fucking stomach because I literally just had to get rid of my 2 remaining cargoes like just to pay fucking rent. And literally it was like one of those where it's like, oh,
you and I are always going to feel that same thing because it's such an incredible piece too. Like, and its ceiling is very high.
The good news
coming up with a new mint, right? Like very
I'm
shortly.
Sure. The good news. The good news is we've been early on Kim. I actually have a bunch of his early Tez art still. And I think like we know about him before. Like, look, mark my words on this one, because we've already been kind of saying this. Kim is going to be one of the top artists of the entire generative art movement. And in this next phase, cycle, whatever.
I think
right, but Kim's not in that echelon of Rafiq Anadol or Jack Butcher. He's not there yet. No. He's not. Most people don't know his name yet, and that's how I know.
Yep.
So just if you're not already following and trying to get in on those mints, do, because Kim Asendorf is going to be one of the legends of generative art. I'll say that. The last quick notes that I had 2 quick ones. This one is the little bit less degen, but still very degen thing that I'm watching is fucking Ronin. I'm actually getting more and more bullish on what they're doing. You can look at this 1 month chart up 120% on the 1 month. Maybe these things are going to pull back, so be careful. But like, this is just something that I'm watching very carefully that I'm very bullish on. I'm getting more bullish on. And then the other one is this one. This is the ultimate degen play. Pepe's starting to get some real volume coming back. I mean, you can look at that volume there at the bottom. This is the price action over the last month, or sorry, just the week. So yeah, just a couple things that I'm watching there at the end, and I appreciate y'all a ton. Our vibe, our trap.
All right, Squashman's coming through with the last announcement here. Apparently, Flooring Protocol is adding rewards just for staking NFTs. So you can actually get protocol rewards, which is huge. I mean, there's clearly a ton of people that are just having NFTs sitting in their wallet doing nothing.
That's brilliant. Something I was saying before, like Blur incentivized collecting. Just that changes a lot. So yeah, that's huge. I may actually drop some stuff in their vaults.
All right, y'all were awesome throughout the entire NFT live today. We will be back tomorrow with these dope individuals. We have a lot, I'm sure, to cover in that time. Definitely, I want to get the update here on K-Row and Moonbirds and all that stuff too. Yeah, big yeah, we're gonna have it. We're gonna have that discussion. But again, appreciate y'all. Our Vibe, our tribe. See you tomorrow.